Hi everyone, it's Coeval here. I am back for an upload. I just finished my first year of graduate school, and what better time to crank out some Arcanists uploads than to celebrate this accomplishment. So, I am playing a 60 Grassy match against Golden Bear. Golden Bear is running what appears to be full fire against my generic book, which I'll explain a little bit more what I have in there as the game goes on. And it appears to be a no prestige account. I thought he was new until I played a few minutes, and then I realized, oh, this guy's an alt. So he is the veteran of the game. Here he pulls out Arcane Egg, and I'm thinking, okay, he probably doesn't have full fire. It's not common to bring Arcane Egg in a full fire mix. And the reason for that is full fire is more aggressive. So you might have a tower, you might have Sphere of Healing, Arcane Gate for sure. You don't really have room for Egg. And he pulls Sanctuary there, and okay, I know for sure he doesn't have full fire. So we'll see what happens here. He does have, like I said, Flame Dragon and Volcano. Volcano is pretty weak, but on Grassy it could be good because, people who stall on the sides, or if he ever gets some sort of advantage like a Dark Knight out on me at the top, then I can't teleport to the side because then he'll Volcano me. So that would be like an auto win scenario for him, so I have to be aware of that. So we just kind of exchange early game blows here. He goes for that flash and he misses it, which is fortunate for me. So how do I take advantage of this? Well, I can do a bit of running away and protection shield here to get some defense. This is actually a pretty tough flash. I wonder if I could try and replicate it real quick. Let's see. So, alright, I'm going to take control of Golden Bear here. And I don't know what kind of angle I would use. He doesn't have BFDP, so we can't really do anything like that. Has to be pretty high. Maybe something like that would work. That still looks a little bit low, but I'll try it anyway. Damn, let's go, Flash Guide! We gotta get Golden Bear in here to watch the Flash Guide, hell yeah. But no, so that is possible. He just didn't quite have the angle. So I run away and flight prot. The positioning here is strategic because I don't want him to fire arrow me. These are kind of weird things that you have to think of when they have kind of off-meta books. What spells would they possibly have that would normally that would put you at a disadvantage? You might just do a typical move like a runaway and flight prot and think you're safe, but then he fire arrows you and you're like, oh, I just lost a tempo and left him to easily take down my shields. So here he is going to kind of create this little hiding spot with the Pegasus and with the swarm here, and I choose to be, I think, a little bit more passive in this situation. Although I do have Pebble, and we'll see what I end up doing. Maybe get my own Pegasus out is an option. Yeah, morphing the Garg is an option. Okay, I just choose to tree him. And what ends up happening here as a result of this sort of approach is the game goes on for quite a while. And I'm going to think about different ways that I could have been a little bit more aggressive here. So one thought I have here is, okay, I've isolated kind of him from his swarm, and of course he flashed out, so he's no longer isolated. But I could have, instead of summoning that swarm there, just pebbled down while he was trapped in his tree. And even if he's free, maybe it's okay to pebble down. I just have to be careful about him coming up and sanctuarying me. That's going to be a pretty devastating counter move. So yeah, I was just thinking about, like, it's about probably at this point in the game where I could have been a bit more aggressive. But instead I choose to be pretty passive here. And we'll see what happens. So he ticks the Pegasus and goes for the Rain of Fire, and he hits it right on the dot. If you aim the middle fireball at the swarm, it will always hit the target. So, I mean, if you aim the target at the whatever you want to kill, the middle fireball will hit the target, the red indicator. So that's a nice little cheeky trick that I've shown on my channel in the past. I think in one of my most popular videos versus Falcos, I use that strategy. If you haven't seen that game, go check it out. Perfect Game, it's called. I'll put a card if I remember, but I probably won't. I'll just be honest. So here we have him, kind of making his own little hovel down here. And what is the plan really? Thinking in 5-10 turn kind of increments. Well, it's difficult because I can bring out swarms and Pegasus, but he has Rain of Fire, he has Rain of Arrows. So what can I do? I go for this Pebble, but it doesn't really do a lot. It's like, okay, if I was gonna go for Pebble, why not just kill the Pegasus, right? Now he has an undead Pegasus, and I've got so many that even if I Pebble down and he has the swarm alive, wherever he puts it, I can pretty much run to and kill it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe instead of doing that awkward Pebble, which again the reason for that was to avoid the Sanctuary, instead of doing that, I could have just killed the Pegasus and kept a little bit of the tempo down for him. Maybe not, I'm not keeping a tempo advantage, but now he's got an undead Pegasus, and even though he's trapped down there, I've got to all of a sudden now just keep him trapped for the rest of the game. I don't know really how I'm able to get an advantage back. So I lost that opportunity because I do have Pebble, which is great to dig, so I shouldn't be able to be allowing him to just kind of sit down there and just like, create whatever he wants, get swarms, get Pegasus, get this egg, up to 150 to hatch a dragon. But because of the way I played it, I actually am letting him do that. And I realize this, and I'm just kind of, accepting that this is going to be a bit of a longer game. And also a little bit nervous because even though he doesn't have flight, he does have flash, which creates quite a bit of space. And so he'll be able to get this Pegasus free. And so it's just a matter of getting slight wins, like maybe killing a swarm of his due to the Pegasus aura, maybe continuing to trap the undead Pegasus or the Pegasus or himself or the egg, whatever I can do to just kind of, prolong the game. And here he's just, speed running to get an undead Pegasus, and I'm left again with figuring out, okay, what's my win condition at this point? I've got a book, as you guys might have noticed, so I don't have Totem with this Gargoyle book. It's pretty generic. It's got Pebble, Mudball, and pretty much generic. And I get lucky, maybe a little bit lucky with the Pebbles, but I figure there were 10 of them. I'm going to Pebble down and kill the Pegasus. So at least I prevented him from getting a second one for now. And again, you'll see me just kind of zoning him with the trees. And like I said a little bit earlier, one interesting strategy when your opponent is trapped and they summon like a swarm or a Pegasus, what you do with tree is you put the tree basically cutting off their contact with that minion. So you're going to trap the minion, and you just kind of separate the map. You're going to cut it in two and force them to do exactly what he does, which is wait for the tree to die and then flash. So here I throw up a draw because I'm thinking, well, definitely I am capable of drawing this. I've got tree, I've got Mudball in this book, which you haven't seen. I've got Bones, which you haven't seen. I've got Pegasus, I've got Gargoyle. I mean, I've got Ice Shield, so many stalling tools at my disposal here. And so I'm thinking, well, this is certainly a game that could fizzle out into a draw. And it's also turn 20, so, pretty early, but, my impatient ass is just like, okay, draw so we can move on with our lives. There he gets a rain of arrows, and I'm like, fuck, man, I can't even, I get 2 Pegasus above in the aerial to block the aerials, and he still gets the swarm. So not the best positioning out of there for me. And what you're seeing here is basically what many people might typically call boring 60G. And, they might be right, but, I'm uploading this game for a reason here, and we'll see if I can make it instructive. But you're seeing me just on rotation get Pegasus out, get Garg out, get Prod out, tree his minions, and Ice Shield when necessary to help facilitate the stall. And you'll see basically what his plan is to continue to get Undead Pegasus, eventually flash that out, and basically overwhelm me with his strong minions. Now, what I'm trying to do is just continue to stall and hope that, well, he can't really build protection shields or anything of that nature. So maybe if he is a little bit too overzealous, escapes kind of early, then in a scenario where maybe I'm able to isolate his minions from himself, then I'll be able to actually get a decent advantage, do some damage to him, and he won't have enough turns. He won't be able to basically run away, and his minions will be trapped. So hopefully that kind of made sense, but you'll see it play out over the course of the game, where, yeah, I try to cut him off from his own minions, and then maybe not like bait him to come out. He's very slow and methodical in this game, but I do eventually want to try and entice him to leave this middle area with all of his minions, because if he's farther away from his minions, that will be beneficial for me. It's harder to coordinate and have synergy with your minions when you're far away. It takes time, and also they're easier to trap when they are over, far away from the player. Well, I mean, it depends on the terrain, like where they are placed, but yeah, I don't know if they're necessarily like easier to trap when they're far away, but definitely it's harder to, coordinate your movements. So here you're seeing him eventually trying to come out here, flash this space open where I'm pinging, and I don't know if you guys like, this level of zoom. I'll go in a little bit so that you can see things a little bit better. But basically, yeah, quite the interesting game here. It does take a while for us to kind of build our advantages, and boom, there goes my swarm. Just deleted to the far right side of the map. It's difficult, I think, to position it under the Pegasus to prevent that. So I just do what I can. And I'm noticing here too, I didn't position my Ice Shield the best, and he's able to get this swarm tick damage over the course of the next like 1,000 turns. And so that's unfortunate. But I've got so many Pegasi, that I can just body block, and it's not a huge deal. But it is, if I'm gonna play optimally, then yeah, it does kind of grind my gears a little bit, like, oh shit, I didn't do that perfectly. But that's what 60G is all about. You're gonna make blunders, you just gotta stay composed and work with what the turn is giving you, Sometimes it doesn't give you a lot, but you're just gonna work with it. Okay, so here I just go with the Ice Shield Pegasus trick, just mount out of it. And again, I'm hoping that, okay, this Ice Shield up here, it's going to be a little bit tricky for him to hop up there because he doesn't have flight and flash that out. Now he could mount his Pegasus or mount this dragon, which is not hatched yet, and flash it out. But then he's leaving himself pretty vulnerable. He's on the Pegasus or dragon. He's maybe in range of the aura, and I could trap him and chip him down some damage, some health, right? So we'll see what ends up happening here. Again, I'm at 150 prot this whole time, so I'm thinking, his win con is if, imagine all this land was gone, right? And he could just freely move, all this land was gone on the sides, like his dragon could go anywhere, his Pegasus could go anywhere. I just lose, right? There wasn't these hiding spots. If it was a completely open map like Volcano, I would just completely lose. I should have resigned, 10 turns ago. But because it's grassy, and you'll notice I made this pebble hole because I noticed, okay, he's got Pegasus and Dragon. Those are huge minions. If ever it gets dicey and he's able to free those, then I can just come down here. I've got one spot that I can take refuge in. I've got this spot over here that I can take refuge in. Dragons don't fit down the side, which is great, and I can also block with the Pegasus. I've got also this spot that I could take refuge in as well. And I choose here to kill my Pegasus and just spawn a new one, got more health. And I'm sure you guys are seeing what he's trying to do. Zombify the dragon. And spoiler alert, he will succeed. Not very much of a spoiler, right? Because I'm not looking to push, especially when he has all these minions. So he flashes there, kind of a Q almost. He would love to flash up top here and, maybe mounting a Pegasus and flashing out there would have been an okay move, but I'm not sure. I'd be hesitant to try something like that because, again, he's sitting on a dragon that would have been 30 health at the time. When he flashes, it's to 15, and then I could undead it, so that's definitely not a line. And if he goes on a zombie dragon or a Pegasus, then he's going to take aura damage. I can always respond by trapping him or just putting my Pegasus in the way, and he's going to take some tick damage down to 200 or so. It'll be a little bit complicated. It's not the easiest line, to use some chess terminology. So here he just goes for a fireball, and I'm like, okay, he's just really trying to free up some space. But again, I'm able to just simply sit one of my 100 health minions in that hole there. Not too concerned about blocking the swarm from moving freely, because he doesn't really want to move the swarm away, because like I said, if he's moving a minion far away from himself, sometimes it can be easier to trap, or definitely easier to isolate from him when it's further away. So he goes for the volcano, and I'm thinking, okay, I think this is good for me. I think the first thing I would think of is, oh, let me run away because it's a volcano, right? But then I see here, what do you think I'm about to do in this situation? I'll give you guys a few seconds and see if you can figure it out. Also, before I, uncork this amazing move, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video. Would really appreciate it. I think about 25% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. Or actually, it might be closer to 30 or 35 now. So if you would just take a moment to check to see if you're subscribed, I would appreciate it. All right, so the move that I choose to do here is flash. And at this moment, I realized, oh shit, I might have fucked up because that swarm there actually prevents me from leaving. But this napalm bomb, does it allow me to get free? Maybe. Oh, I got so lucky there. I mean, it's not the end of the game or anything, but it's just unfortunate. So I'm actually able to free myself. Look at that. Due to that napalm. And in the chat, he was like, the napalm saved you. And I'm like, well, when you cast a spell like Volcano, of course, you're going to be subject to some RNG, right? So here, I don't really have many ways that I can capitalize. So unfortunately, I just have to kind of run away. I mean, it's a volcano that's active, so, get out of there. You don't run into a fire when your house is on fire, unless, of course, you got kids in there. But I don't got kids to save from this volcano, so I'm getting out of there. So I'm just gonna reprot. Wow, what a surprise! Coeval reprots with his flight prop passive ass book with mud, bones, no totem. Ugh. What do you want to do? Play like 2-hour games? The answer, I guess, is yes. But ironically, when I'm a little out of practice, I'm pretty impatient. and it takes me a while to get kind of back into the groove and be able to just take things turn by turn and have that patience that 60G requires. So, what are we thinking here? I mean, same strategy I gotta use. The volcano is gonna continue to clear that land and continue to provide a potential path for his minions, his dragon, Pegasus, Swarm. But once again, guys, I'm not too terribly concerned. You know, the volcano, let's say it, opens this area up. Okay, I've got a Pegasus here. Okay, I've got another Pegasus. I've got a gargoyle. I've got a second gargoyle. I've got this hiding spot. I've got this hiding spot. I've got, as a last resort, this hiding spot. Like I have so many ways that I can prolong this game. And again, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, if there's a way that maybe, the map is open and he positions his minions in a way that such that I'm easily able to isolate them. Like maybe he clumps them all three in an area and I can tree them off or something. It's of course not that easy, but something to that effect is what I'm looking out for. That's why I rescinded my draw offer, which was a while ago. Oh, and the Pegasus there hits the napalm, and his dragon is not able to escape. So then I put up the draw again. He claimed here that, if I didn't see that napalm Coeval, then I would have been able to just, win the game basically. And yeah, for all the reasons I just mentioned, I'm not so sure. But it would have definitely helped. So he goes for a rain of arrows, and I'm not worried about getting that Gargon dead because I have so many ways to block the swarm. I can just remorph it, and I go for a bones here, and look at these two last bones. Boom, just that last one traps the Pegasus, and it's like a perfect little kind of area for bones to fall. And the funny thing is, he didn't know that I had bones, and of course, I know this whole time that I have bones. So that's one reason that I put the draw offer up, because I've got so many ways to stall. The weakness of the book is obviously just having like direct damage and also just, potent offense, period. It's more defensive, stally, and here, since I've got the bones, I know that those minions are pretty trapped for at least a few turns. It's going to be difficult for him to free them because he doesn't have flight. It'd be easier if he had flight and he could build up a prot and then come over here and flash it free. It's much more difficult for him to free those minions, and so I just go for a direct pebble here. And now I'm thinking, okay, what are some ways that I can apply some pressure? Now I've done what I've talked to you guys about for the last several minutes, is isolating his minions from himself. You see how he's got his Pegasus and his dragon trapped, and he's all the way over here. And so they're a bit isolated. And I have this Pegasus here, just in case he's able to kind of squeeze through that area. I don't think he is, but I'm just going to position it to be sure. And I just go for a repebble. And here I know that he recently sanctuaried, so I am safe to position myself where I did. Otherwise, I maybe would have gone like, I don't know, up there maybe is safe. Yeah, that would have been safe. And so, but he's going up here, and at this moment, I was like, oh fuck. Well, that is about the worst thing that could happen in that situation. He just got it back, he told me. I just miscounted the turns. Of course, who's in 60G with a notepad out, keeping track of that shit? No one. So, I'm in the situation where now I've lost 150 prot, I believe. And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. That swarm is going to die. That's a great tempo. He's got both of his minions trapped. His Pegasus is trapped. So now I have successfully achieved this whole isolate him from his minions goal. Question is, can I capitalize here? Okay, he goes for another flash. Do I dare try that one? No. You guys know that I can do it. This is quite a long video, so I'm just going to keep things rolling. Here I've got many moves. Lust, Tree, not really the best because I want to be offensive when I can. I was thinking of some sort of Lust into the Napalm if possible. I don't know if, okay, it didn't move anyway, but maybe I could have just put that Garg just a little bit lower, bounce him up just a tad into the Napalm. That would have been dope. But now he's down to 95 because of that failed flash. He just waited for a moment where he was overzealous, and now I've got some hope. A glimmer of hope here. And then he brings out his dragon. So he's got 2 dragons, 2 undead Pegasus, and at this point I'm like, okay, don't get too discouraged here. I'm on, the offense. I've got some ways that I can, get an advantage. And I'm thinking, okay, I see a line here. That line is, less this Pegasus twice, then he doesn't have a way to get his undead Peg and his undead dragon to block. And he has to block with his flame dragon, which I can just continually lust. And he doesn't really have many safe-ish areas that he can chill. And so that's kind of my plan here. He does go for that drain to kill the Garg, but I saw it and I have 2 of them. So I'm able to actually just replace that Garg with this Garg and continue my line here. So again, as I said, lust the Pegasus twice. Now he's in a bit of a sticky situation. Again, not game, but he has to block with his only free minion. That actually is one of his win cons, does a lot of damage, and has a lot of health. Here he goes for the Sanctuary, and I'm going to pause for a few seconds here. Let me know if you see a move that I can play. Actually, drop in the comments. Let me know. This is what, turn 44. We're getting into the late stages of the game. What is a move that I can do here to clutch out a winning advantage, a decisive advantage? All right, we are going to play it now to see what happens. I hit the BFTP here, get some distance, and Pebble. Both the pebbles hit. If you guys didn't know, you aim for the face in the tower. It's also a little bit tricky with the high towers like Sanctuary, but you might choose to aim just a slight touch lower because the player will fall from the tower after they get detowered, so the pebbles might not hit. There I went pretty much dead center and it worked out, and sunk him. Now I'm in the driver's seat. I can come back up here out of flight. Again, I don't have much offense myself, but I can, get some distance, and that way he's not able to respond with an attack. I can keep him trapped down there and just spam Bloodlust from the Garg. And I might choose to just do that. I don't even prot, which this is an interesting point of discussion too. I'll just let the game run while I talk about this. A lot of players who are newer to 60 Grassy, they don't choose to make plays unless they have a prot up with flight because they're worried, oh, I'm going to get knocked, or, I'm going to get, deflighted from an aerial. Like, so much shit could happen, BFTP, and then I could just get Mega'd or DMB'd or whatever, But more veteran players, experienced 60G players, like myself, we know about different scenarios where we can flight and be safe to do our move without a prot. And what it comes down to is basically you're thinking about, okay, can my opponent get to me? One. So if they can't get to you, then you can flight prot. You can do whatever you want. Also, let me just point out there that drain was potentially to free the swarm. I don't know if it was free before, but maybe a bit of a Q there as well, or maybe not the best move that he had. Although his tower was on cooldown as well, so I found this area to come down here and flash through. And also, yeah, let me finish my point about the prot. So you can either, you're going to first decide, okay, can my opponent get to me? If that's not the case, then you can freely flight. You don't have to prot. And the second thing is, if your opponent can get to you, sink you, but it doesn't really put you in a disadvantage, it doesn't put them at a huge advantage, that's called, baiting the sink, or you want to bait them to come to you and sink you. That'd be the case maybe if you have 2 minions to their 0, and even if they sink you, they're still down 2 minions. And yeah, they gained 1 tempo, but you're up already 3 tempos. So what's the point of, sinking to gain 1 tempo when you're down so many? So that one's a little bit more nuanced, but those are 2 scenarios where you can flight without prot. There, he makes a nice play to do the Sanctuary Trap, which I didn't really see in hindsight. And at this point I'm thinking, oh, wait, does he have Dark Knight? He could pull that out. And then I'm a little bit at a disadvantage once again here. And so I'm thinking, man, if only I could kill him right here. But I did the math, 45 plus 96, 141. What does that mean? And why am I doing math in a 60 Grassy game? Nerd. Well, 141 means that my lust will leave him with 1 health. And then he will be able to potentially 205 me with the DK and win the game. So because of that, because my lust does not do 141, it will do 140. And the reason is lust does 70, but to a mounted user, it'll do double. So that's where I got the 140 from. So that forces me to teleport away. And if you're wondering, oh wait, well the guard couldn't get through. Well, it can get through here, through the top. So I've got 2 areas. That's another thing that you can kind of be aware of when you're playing 60 Grassy is, can you create 2 different avenues where your minions can converge on your opponent? If you can ever do that, it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to stay alive here. So he goes for the double drain, logical, and I just pulled out the Hikaru. Logical. Yeah, logical move. Logical move there by Golden Bear. And I'm just going to do damage. No point here in killing the DK because he can't really get it out to kill me. As I say that, I'm looking for any sort of way that he possibly could, but he can just jump it up here, but there's no way he could get it over. So he just has to go for the Pegasus mount, which you can do, by the way, by just summoning the Pegasus super close to your character, and the mount circle turns blue. And if you'll do the math once again, 100 plus 35 is 135. I don't know if he knows that this kills, but I do. Turn 50, clutch, and great game. Really came down to a few blunders, I think, by him. A couple of flashes that were not going his way this game. Props for the unique book, Volcano and Flame Dragon, which he has continued to hone throughout our many games. And yeah, don't underestimate any book, no matter if it's, got the weirdest level 3 that you don't even know what it does, maybe. You still have to play your best game and really think about, like I said, what kind of spells are they going to have in this sort of off-meta book. They're going to be moves that you don't even expect that could happen. So anyway, that'll be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. And once again, if you enjoyed this, please drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Peace out.